musst lauter.
All right. Jetzt. Yeah, okay. All right. So, thank you for showing up. As I've already announced, it's not the most serious talk on this conference, but I hope you will enjoy it. So, Ruby is full of surprises, and over the last year I started to write down the surprises that I had, and what resulted was this blog. It's called Idiosyncratic Ruby. Idiosyncratic is something like it's special in some kind, not necessarily bad, but Ruby does its own thing, their own thing, and yeah. And I'm posting some new episodes, some new articles this month, so check it out. All right. So what is this? It's a poem. I read it out. Begin with an easy program. You should be able to write a program unless for you, programming in Ruby language is too difficult. At the end of your journey towards the ultimate program, you must be part of a programming language. You will end if you are not a programmer. And this is all valid Ruby code. So if you can use the Ruby -C option to check the syntax of a program, and what you see there, it's valid Ruby. It doesn't do anything. It just fits the program, but it's valid. Yeah, and this is and it won the second place of the trick competition, which is a competition held by the Ruby core people which encourages people to check out the boundaries of the language and to point out more possible surprises in the language. Okay, so who has heard of the principle of least surprise? It was more common like a few years ago. It's it means you shouldn't be surprised by a Ruby by a programming language. And Mats himself, he wrote an essay also about like what is a beautiful programming language, and for example, he said that Ruby is also kind of conservative. If you know another programming language, you have the similar constructs like if statements, while statements, and then you start Ruby, and it all feels familiar, and you're not surprised by it. He later refined that it means it means that you won't get surprised if you know the programming language, because some things, like for example class variables. Quick question: who uses class variables? Well, yeah. So one of the first things you learn as a new Ruby programmer is to not use class variables, but class instance variables, and this could be a surprise, but it's not a surprise when you know Ruby. But I go a step further and say sometimes it's more like you have to know Ruby very, very well to not be surprised. So just the other day, Yusuke Endo, I hope I pronounced it correctly, who's the master of esoteric programming, wrote this piece of code. And what does it do? It's printing out the foo symbol, and I have no clue why. I have no clue what the begin means, what the percentage sign there means, how it can work that there's an if and an unless, and it still prints out foo. So I cannot demonstrate it right now because I have no interactive Ruby here, but this totally works. And if you wonder what Yusuke Endo does when he isn't treating things like this, yeah, he also produces Quines. A Quine is a program that puts out its own source code, but he went a step further and has the instructions for 3D printers to print out such a tube with the instruction to print out such a tube on it. Like letters, it's the instructions to print out itself, basically. All right. Okay. But back to the surprises. So that Ruby, you learn some of its API, for example, splitting a string. We do it like every day. Every day I split at least 3 strings, 4, 5. And you can pass in a regular expression, which defines where to split. Okay, nothing special about here, but has someone thought about what happens if you're using a capture group around the expression? So I take guesses. Any guesses so far? Just shout it out. What could be the result?
Returns matches and match the delimiters in one array.
Okay.
So it would be a graph, first element, or 0th element, and hyphen at the first element, and b is the second.
Yeah. So that's correct. It's all in one flat array, but it's already kind of unfamiliar. And if we play this game further and we put around multiple capture groups around the same regular expression, then what's the result now?
I would guess that will be 2 hyphens.
Yeah, exactly. So it just puts another one there, and
Just parse it right now, or compile. Yeah.
we can. I doubt it's useful, but it's like this. Okay, that's more crazy things that I don't want to go in detail. Yeah. Okay. Another example. That's one of my favorite methods, the successor method. So it operates on strings, but it increases the number in the string, or the string data in the string. So if you have a string with a digit 4, it will just print out 5. And the successor of AAA is AAB, makes sense. Okay, so what could possibly be the successor of 9Z? A? Say again? Uppercase A? Okay. More guesses? 9AA? 10AA? 10A. We might be on bug territory already, so maybe we should open a bug ticket, but yeah. Also the other way around, what could be the result? It's not 10A, it's not A10, I can tell you this.
A10?
A10? 0. 3 more guesses. A0?
AA0.
A0. Oh! Ooh. Very good. Okay. But sometimes not only the behavior of a method is confusing, but also the interface already. Yeah, it's for historical reasons. And my really favorite example is the script lines feature in Ruby. Who is familiar with the script lines feature? It's an internal API in Ruby, one person, very good. It's, so what does it do? It will, if you activate this feature, it will create a hash object with all the source code of files you have required. All right? So, and how do you activate this feature? Or how is it even called? So it's a, what do you think, which of these 6 lines has nothing to do with the feature or activates the feature in somehow? They all look like totally made up. What's this feature? I've never seen it. Why is it like this? Fourth one? It looks a little bit like this file and dir things and method things, maybe. What about the last one? Is it?
All of them.
All of them, yeah. All right, so yeah, it's this one actually. And it works like this. You have to, it only works if you give this object an empty hash, and then this feature is activated, and then you require a file, and this hash is populated with the source of the file. And this not only surprised everyone who learns about it, it also surprised By the Lucky Stiff when he was still around. He wrote something like, weird, what gives with the trailing underscores? It's such a big constant that it leaves a 2-character shadow. And that's probably the reason. Okay, the next thing you have to learn about Ruby is that nothing is as it seems. So we all learned that classes can be instantiated and modules cannot be instantiated. But the thing is, constant assignment is a dynamic thing in Ruby. So we are free to design anything we want to anything other that we want. And we can, for example, swap these 2 constants. And what will be the result? Suddenly, we can call new on A, which is a module, which shouldn't be possible, and get a result of the class, because this assignment only changes the constants, but not the classes itself, or the modules itself. You can even, there's even a remove constant function, and you can, for example, just remove object. Your Ruby will still work, and but you cannot type object anymore in your Ruby, because you undefined it. And I tried to play around with this, and this is a little function which will just swap two constants 50 times, just two random constants. And I just quickly try to demonstrate what it does. Works. Right. IRB. Let's paste the code. If this doesn't work in 10 seconds, I'll just skip the part, so don't be impatient. Okay, it doesn't work. So what you would see if you try this out is that your Ruby breaks. It swaps like the constant definition of, let's say, array with the behavior of some token class from the Ruby internals, and yeah, it's not recommended for production. So, also, there are some command line options in Ruby that are like ancient. There's one option, it's -s. When you say Ruby -s, then it will define a global variable for you, and it will to define the global variable that you pass in as another argument, and it will just set it to true. So this is obviously for scripting, but I doubt anyone does it today. But far more fun is this IRB option. So when using IRB, you can pass in an output formatter, which can be quite useful. So instead of like just the result, you get a YAML representation of the result. If you pass in inspect YAML, if you pass in inspect Marshall, it returns you the Marshall version, which is in Ruby binary format where you can store your Ruby objects in and serialize them. So the representation of 42 is I/. And you can also pass in a string with curlies and some functionality. So what exactly is this? I will tell you what it is, but so what does it do? It takes R, it reverses it, so 42 will be printed out as 24, but I've never seen the syntax that you just put in a block, a Ruby block. A Ruby block always belongs to some method, or else it will be a hash literal. So I searched the source and found something like this. So when the option matches the regex, then create a proc where you just string interpolate in the command line option and eval it. So yeah, that was surprising to me, and maybe it's also not for production use. And yeah, one thing I learned is that Ruby will never run out of surprises. And with the next version of Ruby, we are getting some new features. For example, we will have infinite ranges, which are probably pretty useful. I'm not sure if there will be any problems with it, and I already love the syntax. What I also love is that you will be able to use any uppercase Ruby, any uppercase Unicode character for your class names. And so you can have like Cyrillic classes, and I think that really is a good thing. I really mean this. It's, okay. Okay, I'm a little bit quick. So I brought an additional thing. So we sometimes do Ruby quiz in Berlin, and this is one of my favorites there. So you can in string data you can not only use the characters of your directly that you want to embed, but you can use escape syntaxes. So for example, if you have a string and you write \x OO, then it embeds the byte value in hexadecimal form into the string. But that's not the only way to embed a null byte. Does anyone a clue like how many syntaxes there might be to embed a null byte? 42? 6? More guesses? 20. Okay, so you said 42. Can you enumerate them? Well, the answer is actually 40. So let's see. Yeah, there's a special syntax, just \null to create a null. We had this one already. You can also just put in a single digit. There's also Unicode syntax, which is also hexadecimal. So if I would wanted to encode like the letter A, I don't know the number of A, but let's say it's 48, then backslash x48 would work, and backslash u 0048 would work too. Could also put curlies around them. If you're using 4 digits, then they are not required. Yeah, but if you use less or more, then they are totally required. So 6 digits is the maximum because there are no code points larger than this. Like 7-digit code points don't exist. Okay, this is octal representation. So your base is not 16 anymore, but 8. Who uses octal numbers in their daily lives? What's this? It's also octal. You can prepend \c, and it means limit the following byte to only the first 5 bits. So, okay, so okay, I just leave it like this. And you can combine it with the previously seen options. Yeah, so because it only uses part of, so one character, one ASCII character is like 7 bytes, and if it doesn't matter what the first 2 bytes are, then we have like 4 different ways of having the same 5 last bytes. So that's the reason why the add will return the same value like C space, like just it's always 0. And you can also use backslash lowercase c. Then you have to omit the dash, but it's the same effect. Yeah. So, okay. That's all. Okay. It was just a quick dive into the things. And that's it.